Good morning, my brothers and sisters. I hope everybody's doing all right today. Hope y'all didn't get washed away by the rain last night. I know I did. Uh, we need to put out a bolo on Frank. I have not been able to find him since last night. He probably went and got some Frank and booty somewhere since it's spooky season. Today, we're definitely gonna hit on some tough shit. You know, there's going to be people that don't like this. There's people that's already trying to get me canceled. I've got several people. I won't name any names because I don't do that. I believe that, even if you're not doing the best that you should be doing to fulfill the Great Commission and bring people to God, and you've got some other side shit going on, I think that still has some help. All you got to do is put somebody on the right track like me, and I'm off and running. And since we've started these videos, I've found more peace than I've had. I'm in my Holy Bible every morning. This is where we're at. On days that I don't work, me and my manual, M-A-N, Yule, we're out on the front porch, and we're trying to bring the Word of God to people like me every day. People can relate to me because I'm just an everyman. I'm not sitting in a church pew somewhere and looking down on you. Now, I do go to church. I am affiliated with a church, and I love all my church family. But, I won't throw them out there because some of these videos are controversial, and I really don't give a shit if I make people mad, but, I would never ever do that to any of my spiritual family. So, today, this is probably going to get me in trouble with my church, but that's all right. They love me anyway. So, today we're going to talk about Jesus flipping tables and whipping people with a whip. I told y'all this was coming a couple of days ago, so at this time it was Passover. And this is recorded in all four Gospels of the Holy Bible. It is absolutely 100% true. I cannot stand a pastor that wants to stand up and preach grace and all these wonderful things that God's going to give you and do for you without teaching all of it. Everything that's in this Holy Bible needs to be taught, not just the good stuff. So, it's Passover, and Jesus is entering the temple, and he enters the temple and he finds booths set up and vendors all over the place. They're selling goods in the temple. They were even selling animals to be sacrificed to God. I mean, that's how they practiced. That's how they worshipped God back then and prayed to God. They would sacrifice animals and burn them, and so there were people profiting in the house of God. They're profiting on people's desire to worship the Father. They turned the house of God into a place of business and profit, and that ain't right. The house of God is not Walmart. It's not the Dollar General. It's not Amazon. It's not the place to go to make a dollar. Now, I personally have spiritual fathers that will bring shirts to sell, and that's wonderful. They need to make money so that they can reach as many people as possible. However, my man JC, he told them, it's not right. So he starts flipping tables, and he starts whipping the animals to get them out of the sanctuary. He starts whipping the vendors because they're assholes trying to profit off of other people's faith. I don't agree with that at all. So, if you do need to make some money to spread the gospel and fulfill the Great Commission, by all means, it's real easy to set up a website. Facebook has Marketplace. You can make t-shirts and sell shit on there all day long. I knew a girl one time who sold pictures of her feet. It was the weirdest thing. People would request that she step in hamburger meat and eggs and flour and all kinds of weird stuff, and she'd just sell them pictures of her feet. I can't imagine there's anything sinful about that on her part. What them people was doing with them feet pictures is a whole different story. That's weird. However, Jesus is the only person to ever walk this earth as a sinless man. He was literally God come down and put in a flesh suit to walk this earth and save us so we could go to heaven. So Jesus has got this cord, this whip, and he's swinging it at everybody, and everybody's scattering, and all their profits are being spilled out into the floor because, they had them all on their tables, and Jesus is just flipping the shit out of their tables, So he did all this to show that the Father's house was being replaced by a place of commercialism and not worship. So, and I've said before many times, Jesus was a badass. You got to be a badass to be crucified and then ask your Father to forgive the people that are doing it because they don't know what they're doing. They're too dumb. Jesus, he asks, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they do. So, in real badass fashion, Jesus says to all the merchants and the elders, because all these elders had to approve all this stuff to be brought into the sanctuary or the temple or whatever you want to call it these days, they approve that. Okay? So, Jesus, after he clears the sanctuary, he looks at them and says, this is a house of prayer. This is not a place to make a dollar. This is a house of prayer. So if you're setting up tables with t-shirts and books and everything else, trying to profit off of other people's, faith in God, and you try to make them feel bad because you're not wearing, or they're not wearing your merch, you need to get right with the Lord. The sanctuary is no place. It's not the liquor store down the road. It's not a gas station. It's not Walmart. It's not the Dollar General. Although I promise you, there is a Dollar General within 100 feet of every single church in this country right now. They pop up left and right like pimples. One day they're not there, and the next day, they're doing, wonderful business. I want to tell all y'all that I love you. I hope everybody's doing good. Today we're going to do a lot of praying for everybody. Make sure you guys go and visit Halloween Havoc on J.R. Miller Boulevard. It's in the old Family Video building, and it's their 20th anniversary. So make sure you go and check that out. Make sure you stop in and say hello to Miss Joni. She's the owner of it. And you will not find better deals anywhere. You will not find better Halloween products anywhere other than this place. So get in there and give her a big hug and tell her you love her and help support her business. Thank y'all. Y'all have a good day.